I am Dr. Amelia Barrett, and I have Dr. Aly Cohen with me here today. So I'm super excited to find a kindred spirit who also came to a lot of the same conclusions about what is causing disease in our world. So, a thing that was really fascinating to me about your background is that you talk about EMFs and you
Mhm.
are a physician talking about EMFs. So tell us a little bit about this. What do we need to do? What is the real problem here biologically? What are the biggest sources of EMFs for us, and what are some simple things that we can do to adapt?
Yeah, I mean, and there are studies that show people are sensitive to EMFs for headaches. There's even hotels around the world that have, Wi-Fi free rooms for people who are sensitive. You have to even just inquire some of the bigger hotels, believe it or not. But what's so interesting about EMFs is that number one, they're not going away from cell phones. We have cell phones, we have computers, we're on computers. This is not going to go away, okay? And I have a lot of really smart colleagues fighting like crazy to stop 5G. And these are like fifth generation, sixth generation. These are all different generations of communications that move faster and quicker. Some require more satellites. With 5G, now we have more satellites that actually have EMF that penetrate deeper into homes. So 4G is actually safer than 3G, in some ways, you know what I mean, than 5G. So here's the thing. I'm a practical person. I have two teenagers. I live in the real world. I have to communicate. So when I talk about EMFs, I really want people to emphasize that you have more control than you think. Number one, distance is your friend. The further away your tech toys are from your body, the less almost, exponentially, you're going to get less radiation.
Hmm.
Okay. Just by the distance away from your body. When I go to visit my kids in school, all these kids have their laptops on their lap, right on their groin, right?
Oh.
Males, females.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first things I say is, put it on the table, put it on the chair, put a textbook on your lap. It's just a very simple
Mm.
conscious thing. And my kids, I mean, I've yelled at them about having grandkids so many times that these kids know not to have, the computer on their schwank. But the point is that I think when you make it funny, and I teach high school, so I have to talk like their language, but you know, the idea is that when you talk about distance with radiation, it's really important. It's not just, moving it a couple inches away is a little safer. It's exponentially safer. It's
Huh.
the way
Okay.
radiation works. So that's number one. Number two is airplane mode. I mean, I guess unless you have like an aging parent where, you're worried about, or teenagers driving, I have that issue too, where, you're worried that someone's going to call you in the middle of the night. You don't want to turn off your phone. But generally, I want people to think about putting on airplane mode because that cuts off that radiation. The cell towers connect with your phone, which is an antenna, or your computer, about 90 pings per second. So
Hmm.
you don't see it, you don't hear it, but it is connecting with the antennas. So when you put it on airplane mode, you're literally turning off that connection. But unless you feel
Mm.
that you need to be reached, I always keep that phone that needs to be on at least 2 feet away from my head and when I'm sleeping.
Mm. Wow, that is a very practical solution. I didn't realize that a little bit of distance could make such impact. I mean, I thought that the only solutions were things like, where you put those like, I don't know, metal like shield type things over your whole bed or, wear
Yeah, and
certain
often they
pendants.
don't
I
work.
don't know.
Yeah, even the cases for the phones, the pendulum, that people are selling, it's all snake oil. Because
Mm.
the fact of the matter is that the signal's going to fight to get to that antenna, and the more difficult you make it, the higher the radiation to get to it.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
technically
Interesting.
speaking, you don't even want a case. You just want to turn it on or off. And if you're in, say, an elevator, you want to text because that, again, that's more radiation trying to get to the phone. Texting is far less radiation, by the way, than phone calls.
Hmm.
So if you're a texter, then stick to it because that happens to be better. And downloading games and downloading things onto your phone or your computer is actually a great way to not have to have constant radiation because it's in the computer. And then you can turn off
Hmm.
your plane mode.
Okay, so I've heard this thing about, not keeping the cell phone next to you. And so you know what I keep wondering, AirPods. I mean, is Bluetooth as bad as the Wi-Fi signal coming into your phone? I'm thinking it probably isn't, but is that a good solution for talking on the phone?
So, Bluetooth in your car, the antenna is actually in the roof of the car, so it's not on your body. Now,
Okay.
ask my 16-year-old if I want to fight with him about his damn iPods, okay? Because he's working out and he can't have wires and whatever excuse. Look, I'm glad he's not doing crack, right? So the idea is I have to manage and fight my battles, right? Like we all do, especially, and parents and stuff. But
Yeah.
I will tell you that you don't really want to have ear pods in your ears because it's an antenna.
Oh, so it
Wherever you're
is still.
receiving that information is coming close to your head. It's
Okay.
not allowing distance. Now, the studies have not come out in any look, we're still managing studies from 3G and 4G, but they're excellent. We're now moving into 5G studies. We've had studies done by the National Toxicology Program of the United States showing risk. We have Apple iPhones that if you take your iPhone, you can actually go into the fine print and it'll tell you to keep the phone a distance from your body so they don't get sued.
Hmm.
So there, I usually actually I go through that maybe in the book or maybe in my second book, but I teach people how to pick up the phone and go and find that fine print. You can go to the store and ask them too. But needless to say, we all know distance is a problem. We know radiation, especially close to the head, is not a good idea. And anything you can do to separate yourself from that antenna is a really good way to go.
Okay, and antenna means basically anything receiving one of these invisible wave signals in the
Yeah.
world, whether you have your phone like this, whether you
Yeah.
have your AirPods in your ear,
Yeah,
it all
exactly.
counts as receiving radiation and
For
none of it's
sure.
good. It doesn't matter if it's Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, and you can
Okay.
turn off your servers. I'd never remember to do that, but in France and many places around the world, they're not allowing cell phones in the schools for radiation and not just attention and socialization,
Wow.
but for radiation, absolutely. But
Wow.
they're also now making schools where you can turn off the server when you go in or you turn off at night. You can turn off radiation to the servers, and that cuts off that extended amount of EMF. So there's a
Okay.
lot more progressive people in the world and countries in the world with this issue than we are.
Wow. So servers just being like, shut off your computer at night.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
basically yeah, exactly. You can turn off your computer at night so that you don't have Wi-Fi, essentially. If you don't have
Mm.
Wi-Fi, it can still be cellular because it's coming through the walls, right? That's when you don't have access to Wi-Fi, but then you want to turn that off if you want to completely shut down the phone's connection.
Okay, and so you can't control that it's out there in the world, but you can control where you put your receiver of
Sure.
all this stuff that's out there in
Yeah.
the world. It sounds like that is so
Yeah.
helpful to know. Okay. Interesting, interesting. Thank you for that.